Hello and welcome to a new edition of True Audio Files. We've got kind of a special video for this week where I had a chance to go to Chicago and I got to hang out with some friends during a business trip on my times off. And one of those friends is a person who has probably forgotten more about turntables than I would ever remember. And his name was Bes. He's from Music Direct. And he actually initially set up my turntable and has made some great recommendations throughout the years on upgrades, things like my phono stage and things on that nature, which we get into in the interview. But so here is part 2 of the interview with Bes. And I wanted to, as I mentioned in the previous video, I wanted to break it up because sometimes it's hard to watch a long video on YouTube. And it's nice to have kind of things in chunks here. So I wanted to kind of do that for everybody. One other thing I want to warn about as well is, we didn't have a great studio to record this interview in. So we basically used my friend's listening room. And he had his dog with us, a great dog named Harvey. Shout out to Sean and Harvey. But you might potentially hear some dog panting. Trust me, that's not a perverted thing or anything. It's just a dog panting in the background. But you'll probably hear that in there. So I apologize ahead of time. But we've got a lot of great information on these videos. So here is part 2. So I guess some of the other things that I was kind of wondering about is, because you've been doing this for a long time now and have been dealt with all the turntables and everything you guys sell. What would you say is maybe one of your hidden gems that you think every record owner should own that maybe not all of them do? Do you have anything in particular that you
like? It's a tough question. I mean, we've been talking about record cleaning and stylus care, so that's really the big topic of the moment. There's also the question of whether or not a customer wants to tweak his or her turntable, and that's another side topic that I have to be sort of careful about.
Yeah.
Because when a manufacturer like Rega, with your deck,
yep.
VPI, Clear Audio, any of the critical brands that we support over at Music Direct design their turntable, they design their turntable with one goal and one goal only: to play a record.
Right.
Period. Okay. So when somebody wants to use a third-party mat, if somebody wants to use tone arm wrap or other stuff because they feel that they're not getting enough out of their turntable, the value-added proposition begins here.
Yeah.
If you've invested X in a turntable and you want to buy a $10 product to improve your stuff like a mat at $30 or $50, and it does what it's supposed to do, stop.
That's right.
Okay.
The audiophile and everybody seems to want to.
They want to gravitate towards those kind of conversations. I've had, to the respect of my customers who've talked to me nationwide and whatnot, I love the communication that I have with them when they want to ask about this new product that showed up in our
website,
wonderfully, wonderfully loved catalog that should be out any day.
There you go.
Or our website, which is continually updated. They get their emailers, their newsletters, and whatever. And the first thing they ask is, will this work with my system? I'm like, well, what do you think is wrong with it?
That's right.
I can't push or sell something without trying to get to the meat of their problem. If they can't tell me that the speaker is sounding less than it's supposed to be, my first reaction is, well, did you change something? Did you did you move the speakers? Is the wire, the wires you changed? All those sort of things have to be taken into consideration.
Yep.
Otherwise, they're basically spinning wheels. On the other hand, the tweaks that we support at Music Direct have all been positive in a number of ways. It has to do with what that designer has done to create the product in their technology to prove that it's going to work in so many ways. Okay, so if you look at leather mats, if you look at stylus brushes that play along the record and do what they're supposed to do, if you look at great devices like D-Stat, which is a terrific product. Yes, it looks like an odd-looking iron, but if you do what you're supposed to do, and depending upon your room's environment,
if you have
especially if you have a very dry room,
yep.
products like that can do more to improve and save your system from a lot of hassle.
Yeah, well, yeah, and all the crackles and pops, especially with the de-static thing. It's
Correct.
But yeah, that's really good. I mean, one of the things that I was somewhat surprised about, and I can't say it's like it was mind-blowingly different, but I did buy one of the upgrade belts, the Rega
Yes.
one, and I was pretty surprised. I mean, it tightened up the bass, and it was a pretty effective improvement.
And that's great because when we first heard about the EBLT and in its latest iterations, my first reaction is it's a belt.
Yeah, right.
But true to form, Rega researched the type of material needed to ensure that the belt did what it's supposed to do, which is twofold: vibration control between the pulley and the subplatter, and more importantly, the integrity of the belt as it rotated to maintain proper speed.
Yeah.
All those things were done in such a way that end user reaction to even something like that from the direct manufacturer was incredible. And now that's part of their strategy when you're buying everything from the entry level planer 1 all the way up to their signature planer 10. The belt families are specific to those models.
Interesting.
So you actually get really, really good complementary results when you're listening to your music.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty amazed. Like I said, it wasn't something that was just like, oh my God, it's different, but it is definitely something that was noticeable. And I think it was like what, $50 or $60 or something.
Yeah,
So it wasn't outrageously expensive.
That's an example of a perfect tweak for for the right situation.
Yeah.
Okay. Of course, if we're going to stretch into the territory of Rega, you know of a number of manufacturers, one of which that we've supported for a long, long time, where they're allowing you to change the spider subplatter to a more solid design. You get more information, more musical truth. But let's also defend again brands like Rega over the years, especially with the latest generation of the Planer 3, Planer 6,
going with a more light
10, with the latest generation Tancast technology for the plinth, better mated motors, higher quality power supply upgrades. It's a far cry from the day when you took an early generation Planer 3 and go, well, I put like $200 worth of upgrades, and my response is, good. Does it sound good? I'm like, it's awesome.
Well, that's what
Problem
matters.
solved.
That is, in the end of the day, what matters.
That's exactly right.
So yeah, awesome. So I guess we'll cut it soon here because. YouTube followers tend to not like 30-minute and 45-minute videos.
Oh, stop it. You'll put chapters on here and everything will be fine.
There we go.
Yeah.
Break it into parts.
Exactly.
Well, and that's what I might do. I might do it.
Or we can have a bad video problem. Go.
Well, we're going to have the breathing of Harvey the bulldog and stuff like that, so it might be fun.
That's post-production, babe. I mean,
I'll try to edit all that out as best I can. So I guess, and I don't want to make this too much of a commercial for Music Direct, but because you work there, I mean, one of the things that I'd like to kind of know about is like, what's kind of, and I'm going to cheat and look at my notes because I want to make sure I'm saying it the way I want to, but I guess what comes up a lot that people may be surprised about it, that comes up for you at Music Direct.
That they don't know we exist. And that has to do with the fact that we have been a Chicago-based business since, when Jim Davis started the company. And when a customer comes in from the local area or from around the world, after seeing what he sees on Google or whatever, when they come in, they're astounded at what we show them when they visit our warehouse, when our vendors come in. In fact, I believe I was out of the office when I was told this. Jeff Garland came into the office, and he was completely, blown away by everything that he saw as he came into the place, and I thought that was great. And it's happened to a lot of our other customers, regardless of notoriety. Is that
so? For those who don't know, who's Jeff Garland?
Curb Your Enthusiasm, Canadian, Chicago guy, Goldberg's among other projects. Great comedian, really funny guy, funny guy. But anyway, what they also appreciate is the fact that when they do come in, there is a team of sales professionals who are able to talk with them and work with them on understanding what's going on. When they meet me, not to sound like I'm plugging, they're immediately given a more, I hope, a more human face in the discussion of what they want in their world and how they express themselves as audiophiles. And the messaging that I say for them is, I'm glad you're an audiophile, but do me a favor, listen to your music and have a cry.
Yep.
Because
it's all about the emotion.
You've invested all that money on that turntable, that CD player, that streamer, that amplifier, that preamplifier, that DAC, that pair of loudspeakers, and you've set it up all in a great space for you to have the fun time of your life. But if you don't drop that needle and listen to your music for what it was intended to be, music, then I have to wonder.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it all boils down to at the end of the day. I mean, are you enjoying your music,
Yeah.
And, that's what you really should be doing. And that's, I think, the bottom line with it, I think. And I think that, it's super important.
I think we all have a responsibility, whether we're influencers like you or spokespeople like myself when I'm on doing my stuff for our product on YouTube and on social media, along with my colleague Brooke Scherer and a number of other people who are responsible for our branding, is that we bring the music to you first. Everything else will follow. Mm-hmm. And while my career, which is now 41 years and counting, still involves critical training, knowledge base on resistors, capacitors, how to make sure something is compliant with whatever it is that we do. Mm-hmm. It's you, the viewer, the person who talks to us on the phone or emails me or whatever, and trying to create the dialogue that says, will this work in my system? My reaction is, of course it will. Plug it in, talk to me about it later.
See what you think.
See what you think. Did Nick Drake make you cry? Did listening to the Rolling Stones, did that work out? Did you enjoy the Beatles? Did you enjoy Kate Bush?
Did you bang your head with Metallica?
Did you know I listen to electronic dance music? I'm a junglist. All that sort of stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All those things are equal to the task of what we do at a company like Music Direct, as well as our competitors, mm-hmm. to ensure that your experience is our experience.
Yeah, and I mean that. I was in the AV sales industry as a salesperson for, I don't know, 12 years if you don't include my Radio Shack days, because I don't. But
wait, I still have my card. Can you punch for a 9-volt
battery? Yeah, exactly.
I mean, really? Oh, God, yeah.
High quality.
And mind you, they weren't alkaline. I don't understand.
Mercury, I think, yeah. But yeah, I mean, my thing was my main priority was, asking questions that got me the information I need to make sure that I got the right solution for my customer. I mean, it still holds true to my current job and what I do, but it's not in the consumer AV space anyways. But I mean, it's the same thing. It's like, what are we doing? What are your needs and wants? What is your end result? What does it look like?
Right. But we also don't want to stray away from the joy that brings them to this moment to come into the shop. If they're informed, great. But if they want a pat on the back saying,
it's about pride.
Am I happy with what it is that I'm interested in?
Yep.
Well, we're not going to be idiots and say no.
Right.
But we're also going to make sure that the yes answer is properly tempered with
set that expectation.
To set the expectation, because if we over deliver, our job is over.
Yep.
And I've seen that, with some people trying to, spin the narrative that this is 100% perfect. You're going to like it or not.
Yeah.
And my reaction to that is,
how are you going to know?
How are you going to know? Really,
you don't know. It's not. You can't be in their head.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of the importance of making a relationship with a dealer like that, like Music Direct, as opposed to buying stuff from Amazon or like these faceless corporations. A place like Music Direct knows me, knows Jim as customers, and can make recommendations based on what they know about us.
And that
on
goes
a more personal level than Amazon's algorithm could ever hope to do.
And that goes to the 8+ salespeople who are answering the phones day in, day out. We have a team of people with, I think, collectively over 150 years
we just
of
did
knowledge
that.
base.
Yeah, we just did that with my company.
But what's really nice is each individual has a unique set of skills. They have their own unique story. They have their own unique way of ensuring the customer's happiness. But in the end, once that setup is done for them, and they get the feel good in the form of a thank you or wow, those wow moments, that's that to me is a healthy.
Absolutely.
Healthy thing. So.
Well, and that's how I got introduced to you, because I was buying all my gear, and he's like, Jason Ressler, I believe it was. He's like,
Oh, Jason.
I'm gonna get you my turntable guy. He's gonna set this up for you and make sure that take care of it. So that's basically how I met you. But yeah, that's super important. So I do have one last question here that I think that you and I have already seen, and I think I can answer this because we came up with it.
I'll chime in where needed.
Yes, it's KJ on my YouTube channel asked, I've tried everything to get rid of a hum on my Rega turntable. I have to apologize. I don't have my glasses, so it makes it more difficult to read. It says,
Just tweak it.
You can't. You can't do it. That's it says it turns louder when I touch the tone arm. I wonder if they have any suggestions. So I have a suggestion because I had a similar issue with my RP6. There's a bolt like underneath the platter on the very bottom that I got like a ring connector, and then some like, you probably don't even need this much, but like 16 or 18 gauge wire that I connected onto that. I attached it to the bolt, and then I ran it to the ground on my phono preamp, and I pretty much got rid of all my hum doing that.
Yeah, and that's an excellent way to do it. It's been done that way with a number of customers that I've spoken to. One of the things to understand about the majority of the Rega, all the Rega turntables for that matter, is that they do not have a external ground wire on it. So we normally equate that with that little spade lug that comes out that's attached to the tone arm cables and yada yada yada. So what Rega has done is that they've internally grounded the wire. There's an actual copper post that is connected into the tone arm at its pivot point, and then there's a very small micro wire that is also harnessed into the cable joist to act as a control mechanism for risk of ground hum like that. But there are going to be instances that, depending upon the system in which it's being plugged into, that hum may not be necessarily going away. You also talk about the fact that your hand acts as a conduit to control hum. Okay, so environmentally speaking, that is probably due to the arm itself, and you may also need to do a test where you take a simple ground wire of your length of choice, tap it into the neutral ground of, I believe, the left channel, and then put it to a ground post on your amplifier. And if that neutralizes it, alongside my colleague Jim's recommendation, 99.9% of the time the hum will be gone.
So there you go, KJ. And like I said, pretty much all my hum has gone away when I connected that wire and ran it down to my ground wire, my phono preamp. So good luck. Hopefully that helps you out. And Bes, I really want to thank you for your time. I appreciate it, and maybe we can do this. It might be remote next time, but maybe other people see this and they will have more questions that we can get asked.
Well, I appreciate being invited. Traffic from Chicago sucked, but no. But
it's a bitch to get to Connecticut.
It is
Chicago.
totally a bitch to get to Connecticut. But seriously, folks. No, thank you very much for this, Jim. Obviously we've known each other for a long time, and when you invited me to do this conversation, my gut reaction is I'd love to do it. So
I really appreciate that.
Let's do it
Never
again.
trust your gut.
Yeah, my I got a big one, so it's.
I have to take medication for that. Yeah.
I probably should.
It's a different thing.
All right, Bes, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
The pleasure's mine. Thank you.
And thank you for watching, and we'll tune again next time. But anyway, thank you for your time, and we'll talk to you next time. Thanks. All right, and that is the end of the interview. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button. If you want to see more of my videos, hit that subscribe button. And if you want to know when my new videos come out, please hit that alert bell. Also, if you want to see more or interact more with me, I also have some social media accounts. I've got my own True Audio Files page on Facebook. I also have accounts in Instagram and Twitter as well. So check me out on those. The information is in the description. Thank you very much, and you have a great one.